Wow, wow, markets are grinding higher, melting higher into the biggest news of the week tomorrow morning. And I'll tell you guys, anytime we see markets grinding, melting up the chart like this, there's always two trades I'm looking for tomorrow. I want to cover both of these trades because, again, tomorrow we have our biggest news report of the week tomorrow morning. I want to make sure we have a game plan no matter what these markets throw at us on Friday morning. So charts are ready. Enough of the intro. As always, thanks for tuning in and watching my videos here on the YouTube channel. Let's dive right in here now, make some more money to finish up the week on Friday morning. S&P SPY ready to go tonight. NASDAQ triple Qs are always ready. I have 4 clues on these charts that are telling us where the money is made tomorrow morning. The first of 4 clues is right here on the hourly time frame. I like to use the hourly chart as an overall directional filter, and it's very easy to see right now these buyers are in full control right now as they push their way into all-time highs, just a few more points up above us. First clue is we're definitely bullish with a big move higher right now. Second clue, very important clue for tomorrow over on the calendar. There's 2 major news events tomorrow morning on my radar. The first one is the Fed's favorite gauge of the real cost of inflation. We have the personal income number, the PCE number tomorrow morning that will give us some volatility, so be aware of that. My favorite event for tomorrow, though, is that consumer sentiment number at 10 o'clock Eastern time. This report has been a market mover a lot the last few months, specifically because of the inflation expectations aspect of the report at 10 o'clock Eastern time. So be aware of that. If I had to guess for tomorrow, I would guess between 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock are probably where the big money trades are made for tomorrow. So keep that on your radar for tomorrow. That's our second clue. Big news at 8:30, big news at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And again, if I had to guess for tomorrow, I would guess between 10 o'clock and 11:30 are probably where the best entries will be on Friday morning. Let's get back to our charts though, because it's good to know when the news is, but the money is made on the charts. Now remember, we don't trade time charts in our trade room. We trade tick charts. Tick charts make entry timing a whole lot easier. And by the way, if you're watching for the first time right now, all the time frames in the upper left-hand corner, that is a 7,000 tick chart, upper left-hand corner. And by the way, that indicator is the only indicator we need to make consistent, repeatable profits. That is the 21 EMA. There's 2 really big clues right now on this tick chart. First clue, range right there. Range right there. Why is it important? Because anytime we see a range breakout, we know that breakout pullbacks are on our radar for tomorrow. I love that breakout pullback zone down below us. But the second clue is probably the more important clue right now, and that is that big move higher, that grinding higher, that melt up as it melts higher. Now, I said this earlier, whenever we see a melt up market like this, there's always 2 types of strategies we look for the following day. We'll cover the first one here on the S&P first. The first one's most common. It's the simplest, but I'll tell you guys, the second strategy, we'll cover that a bit later on the NASDAQ, can be a whole lot more lucrative. We'll cover that a bit later on tonight on the video. So if you like making money, make sure you stick around all the way to the end, because that second strategy, I'll talk about a curveball we're watching for tomorrow around that PCE number around 8:30 Eastern time. The first of 2 strategies, though, after a big move up like this, is a 2-legged pullback. Ideally, a 2-legged pullback that goes a bit more than a measured move. When I say 2-legged pullback, think about a measured move. A, B, C, D. If you're a student of mine, you know my favorite 2-legged pullbacks always go a bit more than that measured move. They kind of overshoot that measured move here. So when it comes to a 2-legged pullback, there are 4 different ways I can time the entry. So first strategy, 4 ways to time the entry on this, because again, we have the biggest news report of the week tomorrow morning. Things might get messy. I want to cover 4 ways to time the perfect entry on that 2-legged pullback. For example, one of the easy ways to do it is to look for that 2-legged pullback and look for a bear trap down here. On that 2-legged pullback, wait for price to pull back around that moving average and look for a bear trap here. Bears try once, higher high, bears try twice. Think about now where all their stops are, and I can use those stops to fuel that move back up to retest that high. Now remember, on the way back up to that high, don't just sit there and kick your feet on the desk. Now look to add to your winner. To do that, I'm looking for a very simple add-on pattern that uses this 21 EMA. I want to see separation off the moving average. If it separates off that moving average with a higher high in price, you just watch. You'll see everyone will pile in right below that low. Great examples today, right? That pattern right there. We pop up, we pull back, separate off the moving average, higher high in price, no surprise. Everyone piled in that trade towards the end of the morning here this morning. In our trade room, we call this a bear trap into an add-on. And again, on this first of two strategies, the goal is buy the bear trap, buy the two-legged pullback, and run right back up to retest that high. Here's a question for you though. What if we don't get that bear trap down there? A lot of times what happens is we see a beautiful two-legged pullback, but there's so many buyers down here because everyone's waiting to buy the dip. We may not get a chance down here to trap those bears in and squeeze those stops in. Every once in a while, we get a V bottom down here. We'll basically whoop and run right back up and take out that high. These can be a bit challenging on the emotions, but I want to make sure you guys have a game plan for this. If it V bottoms off that low, what almost always happens is it starts grinding higher. Now watch closely here. I'll draw a trend line off the highs, bring that trend line down around that low. Now the magic happens, look left, find some prior swings. I want to get in under prior swings off the first test, off the low of that channel. In our trade room, we always say first test is the best test. Again, the goal is go back up and retest the high. Also be aware to another variation. Again, there are 4 ways I can time the entry on this two-legged pullback. That is entry pattern number 2. The second one is always one of our favorites. It's a retest trade. For example, we oftentimes will see a two-legged pullback going lower. We oftentimes get that bear trap down here. Bears once, bears twice, and a nice easy squeeze running higher. But every once in a while, we'll take out one of these key highs up here and make another leg going lower. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, this will feel very, very bearish right now as it collapses back down. But remember, we have this huge move higher the past few days on the hourly chart. This will feel like a reversal, but it's probably not a reversal. It's probably another bite at this apple. Think about it this way. Anyone who sells up here, they take their profit. They buy down here. This is a horrible spot to be a seller, which means a great spot here to look for, you guessed it, some bear traps. Now remember, I can be a lot more aggressive on the retest trade, right? They run down, bear trap up, they pull back, retest that low, retest trade. I love these retest trades in our trade room. Again, bears try once, bears try twice, always a higher high. I want those stops. Because think about this. If you're trapped short and you get stopped out of a short trade, what happens? You buy your way out of that position. And again, don't just kick your feet back in the desk and watch that P&L grow. Take some profit and put some order back on here with that same shallow pullback, higher high in price, move right below that low. Gosh, I'll tell you, there's not much guarantee in trading, but these retest trades into add-ons, they're almost guaranteed winners because everyone gets trapped. Everyone gets fooled thinking this thing's a reversal. It's not a reversal. It's simply a retest of that low. Again, the goal on this one is back up to retest the high, leave that runner. If you want to make more money, add to your winners and leave those runners back up to retest the high. Now, I got one big problem. We're very bullish right now. We've got big all-time high levels waiting above us here. We may not get that deep pullback for tomorrow. What if we get a shallow pullback? Shallow pullbacks are tricky because you don't want to buy too high. I want to talk about that shallow pullback strategy. Before I do that though, let's slow down for 2 seconds because I know most of you guys watching right now, you guys know these patterns already. You guys are making money with these already. But if you're watching for the first time right now, this could be a brand new strategy for you. Don't you worry though, I teach this entire system in my free trading classes. In fact, I have a ton of examples of two-legged pullbacks, bear traps, add-ons. Guys, bottom line, the markets are way too good right now not to be making consistent profits. So I want to help you guys time better entries, make some money with this information. What I'll do is I'll put a link up top here for you, upper right-hand corner, hit that link that popped up there and take that free trading course, because the strategy I teach in that short video course will teach you a simple trick we use in our members trade room that literally tells me exactly where the winning trades are going to be each day. More importantly though, I want to teach you my 4 favorite entry setups so you can time better entries, make a lot more money each day. Guys, if you're still missing the best entries each day, if you've lost your confidence in your current trading strategy, what are you waiting for? Hit that link that popped up there. Watch that free trading course. You're going to love all the trading examples I share in that short video series. The best part is it's completely free for you. Also, to keep in mind too, guys, I'm going to put all the links you guys need to learn the roadmap, time better entries, get your confidence back in your trading. I'll put all the details below the video tonight, description of the YouTube video. Start first on the free video classes. Most folks start making money all on their own, all from that free video course. Start there first. Again, all the important links you need to learn more, hopefully earn a lot more, are below this video in the description of the YouTube video. All right, so where did we leave off? I want to stop for a moment there because a lot of folks are watching for the first time right now. I want to make sure you guys know where to learn these setups and see a lot more trade examples on these patterns talked about tonight on the YouTube video. The final, remember, there are 2 basic strategies whenever we see a melt up market like this. This is the first of 2 strategies. We're going to cover the second one, the NASDAQ here, which in all reality could be the most lucrative trade of the week tomorrow morning. The final trade of this first of 2 strategies is a shallow pullback. Again, I would love to see a deep pullback, a 2-legged pullback, trap some bears in, but again, we may not get it. We're grinding higher into those key all-time high levels up overhead here. If all we see is a shallow pullback, I do not want to buy high. I want to buy low. If you've gone to my free video classes right now, you know what this pattern looks like. It's a technical bear trap. Very small difference, very important difference here. Let the bears try once. Let them try twice. I want to get in underneath a prior swing. Now, why do we make this adjustment? Because if I see a deep pullback, I can be a lot more aggressive on a deep pullback now because I can risk small to earn large on the way back up to retest the high. That's a very good risk-reward ratio trade, a very desirable trade. It benefits from the self-fulfilling prophecy. Love the deep 2-legged pullback. But again, if all we see is a shallow pullback right now, below prior swings, again, I like the idea of buying it, but I have to compensate for that lack of reward, right? We're buying relatively high. To do this, make a small adjustment. It still uses that to try. Bears once, bears twice, but again, promise me on a shallow pullback for tomorrow, I want to get in underneath prior swings. Oftentimes what happens is it'll run down, pop back up and start going higher again. I do not want to chase after it up here. I'm going to keep looking for those shallow pullback entries because again, now I can risk small, earn large. I can offset that risk reward ratio as opposed to buying up here where now my risk is large compared to my reward. Does that make sense? So shallow pullbacks, a very small but important adjustment there for tomorrow. That is the first of 2 strategies, a 2-legged pullback and 4 different ways to time the entry for tomorrow. Now let's cover the most important one for tomorrow. That second scenario over in the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ, I'm coming for you here, buddy. NASDAQ triple Qs here on this one. Boy, what a melt up we're seeing right now on this NQ and triple Qs. You can tell those all-time highs are just begging to get hit here, maybe tomorrow, maybe early next week here. Now, before I dive into the tick charts here and talk about that second entry strategy for tomorrow, if you're enjoying this video tonight, please help me grow this channel by hitting that like button and make sure you subscribe. I know we're all busy people these days, and I so appreciate you guys tuning in and watch my videos here every evening on these YouTube channels. So as always, thank you guys so much for the likes, subscribes, all the ongoing support down in the comment section below. Now let's dive in, talk tick charts here, because again, we're not going to trade time charts. I like to use the time chart, the hourly chart for the big directional filter, but we're not trading time charts, of course, in our trade room. Then our tick charts here right now, a 4,000 tick chart here over on the NASDAQ. Now, on the NASDAQ, the second strategy for tomorrow is anytime we see markets melt up like this, we start looking for ranges up here. Now, ranges are very simple patterns because we can trade them as rotation. But I'm going to warn you guys, there's one curveball I'm looking for with a range tomorrow. We're going to cover that in just a moment. So make sure you watch this thing all the way to the end. Now, this may not be the final range that we see right here. It looks like it is right now. It looks like that's our range right now, but it may not be the final range. We may keep grinding up and from a new range a bit higher up overhead. Whatever the most recent range is, we'll use that tomorrow morning in the trade room. Now, think about this. Ranges, they love to rotate and they act like magnets, right? They love to rotate back and forth. And we use things like symmetry, right? Pendulum swings off the high, pendulum swings off the low. We use things like triangles or megaphones or expanding triangles. You'll learn this in more detail about the stuff inside that free video course I mentioned earlier. The key here is once I see a trading range, remember ranges love to rotate. So I want to wait for that pullback going lower. I want to get below that 21 EMA. I'm going to trap those bears in once, twice. That same bear trap into add-on combination. And remember, the reason why I said earlier that this second scenario can be a lot more lucrative because now we're not just trying to go back to retest the high, are we? We're now trying to rotate to the side of that trading range right now and take up that pendulum swing on the opposite side. So again, it's a bear trap below that low. It's an add-on with a higher high, separation of that moving average. Nothing is different there. But again, the big difference is in a range market now, we use a pendulum swing. We use that rotation back higher again. And remember, the same basic stuff we talked about earlier on the S&P can also apply here, right? If we make a strong run down and we don't get that bear trap down there, we can always use that V-bottom technique, right? It pops up, grinds back up like that. We find that trend line, we mark that channel, we mark that low. And as always, I want that first test as the best test off of that low. So again, that same V-bottom technique we covered earlier on the S&P can be applied here again here on the NASDAQ. And again, same idea, right? Amount below, the amount above. That's our final target there, going higher here. Also, too, don't forget that knife cuts both ways here. So as we rotate here, if we rotate higher here first and then back down again, remember, this rotation off the high, the amount above, the amount below, that will tell us now where the entry location will be. That's a matter of time. Wait for that pullback to that 21 EMA. Get those bears trying once, trying twice, and again, stop those bears out. Squeeze those bears out. Take that bear trap pattern long, add more to your winner, and we keep on trading that rotation back and forth here as we go. So again, very simple idea there. If we run into a range here, very common after a big move up like this, we start going sideways here into a trading range. One thing about this one though is this will feel very bearish, right? This will feel like a reversal, but promise me, do not take the bait on that. It's very easy to get trapped there thinking this is a big reversal off the high. It's not a reversal. It's simply a deeper pullback, big move up right now. It's a range rotation. Once you learn how ranges work, these will be easy money for you traders here tomorrow morning. Again, bear trap, add on, and all the same various I mentioned earlier on the S&P as well. One thing too I want to mention too is a curveball for tomorrow. You know, for example, we oftentimes, with a big news event tomorrow morning, we oftentimes will see something like this where it'll run lower and go into a range down here. Now, this can be a bit of a curveball. Again, we got big news tomorrow morning, so be aware of this. If we see a strong run down into a range down here, this sets up what we call a slingshot reversal. Now, slingshot reversals are anytime we're bullish on the higher time frame, but a bearish range on the lower tick chart. Now, these can be oftentimes the most lucrative trade we get here because what's going to happen here is as we go lower here right now, again, we're bullish overall. This is not a bear market. This will feel like a reversal. But again, this will use that hourly time frame as our directional filter. Now, think about this. if I can run this thing lower right now and get these bears trying once, trying twice, now you see why I like the setup so much, because now a bear trap right there, it's going to want to slingshot now off of that low. Now remember, market wants to go where? Back up, take out that big high. So oftentimes, as these bears get trapped below that range, it will snap and slingshot up off that low. And think about this now. As it rolls back higher now, we see separation off that moving average, higher high in price. We're adding to our winner right there and letting that sucker run now, not just for our pendulum swing, right? But all the way back up to retest the high. I love the idea. And again, this one will be a bit tricky for tomorrow because this will feel it'll feel weird, right? It'll be a bear move down into a range. But remember, bear trap below it, rotation off that low. Understand how ranges work. Ranges love to rotate back and forth. Remember, overall bullish on the higher time frame hourly chart, bearish range on the tick charts. That's the recipe for a slingshot reversal off of that low, bear trap, add to your winner, and let that winner run. One more variation too you want to be aware of too is oftentimes what happens is it'll run lower into a trading range, and we'll get a breakout going higher here, right? Range, right? It goes bears to a range here, it'll pop up, and then we get a breakout pullback off of that range on the way up to retest the high, right? Makes sense? Or it pops up, slingshots back down, rotation, same idea, right? We use the amount above, the amount below. That now tells us now where that entry will be. We don't pick the bottom on this. We wait for a pullback to the moving average once, twice. Same idea, right? Same idea. Slingshot off of that low. As it rotates off that low, it picks up speed and spikes all the way back up to retest the high. I love the idea of that variation of this range play for tomorrow. And the easiest one, of course, the easiest one here is we run down, we get chopped up there around that PCE or the consumer sentiment number tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Eastern time. We then break out of that trading range. The market now wants to go back and retest the high here, and we now look for that breakout pullback. Pull back off top of that range, get underneath that 21 EMA, bears once, bears twice. This one, of course, not as desirable, but I have no crystal ball for tomorrow. We'll take what the market gives us for tomorrow morning. That breakout pullback could easily be a winning trade for us tomorrow. And again, the goal is go back up and retest that high. Right, guys? So second scenario for tomorrow is the range play, right? The easy one, well, I guess to say, the easy one is we stay up here, we rotate back and forth, and we're basically buying low, taking profit, buying low, taking profit as it rotates back and forth in that range. The more complicated one, which also can be the more lucrative one, is that run down into that range and that bear trap off that low and whoop right back up as it slingshots, as it rotates up off of that low. Right, guys? That's the game plan for tomorrow. Now, speaking of tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, the place to be is in our trade room. Guys, I can't think of any better way to learn this stuff than to do it with me every morning at the opening bell. As always, I'll put all the important links you'll need to learn this strategy. I'll put all the stuff you need, guys, below the video tonight, description of the YouTube video. Start first on the free video classes. You're going to love all the trade examples I include in that short video series. Then come join the trade room, and we'll do it together every morning at the opening bell. In the meantime, guys, be well out there. Be nice to each other, will ya? Make some money tomorrow morning. And as always, be here next time. Adios, amigos. Bye for now.